Silele kunjini lo polista ngoma Ia ole Ia ole Silele kunjini.
With so much diversity found in our cultures, ethnicities, and people, could there be a single idea of what African beauty is? Or is African beauty defined in various forms? Today, we want to talk about African beauty, and helping us talk about this topic is Ubaba Uvot Tebe. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
First question, what is African beauty?
Yeah, African beauty is that which you see within the black community, within the black family, within Africa itself. It has got its own standards of beauty.
And what are those standards?
Those standards generally they eliminate from the family background.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the basics generally, whereby you start as a family, you look at the family, from the family, then the community, from the community, the nation, and then the people at large.
People at large.
Yeah.
And are there any specific examples that you can give, like when we're starting from the family perspective?
Yes. The ethos of a family tend to differ from one culture to the other.
Okay.
Yeah, but the general term is that in each family, right, you'll find that there are certain things that that particular family is called by God to do certain things. Yeah, take for instance, like if you are born within a family, maybe your father is a preacher man or something like that.
Yeah.
You are inclined to go in that direction. If your father maybe is a peasant farmer, that's the kind of inclination that you are bound to take. This is what I'm looking at. Even for instance, like witchcraft, there's certain families that it's there, it's in them to be witches generally, unless they've been saved. But otherwise, you see, that's where it starts.
That's where it starts. And so when we're looking at these bases of families, of different things that are found in each family, is there a common thread that we can find that then says this is African beauty?
Yeah, the common thread is respect.
Okay.
Yeah, respecting the elders, respecting your environment, respecting one another. That's the common thread that you would find. And not only even that, even the spiritual thread as well. It's found within a family.
So those are the common things that we can say are beauty.
Yes.
And when we're looking at the community, now we've spoken about the family and respect being the common thread and spirituality being the common thread. What are we looking at community for us to understand what African beauty is?
Within a community, it's the respect, especially of the elders.
Okay.
Yeah, the respect of knowing where you come from, and the respect of knowing where you are going. What are your aspirations within that community?
And physically,
Yes.
what are the attributes of African beauty? Are there any specific or standard attributes of African beauty?
Are there any specifics? Not per se, unless if you are looking at beauty as in adornment of the body.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another way of looking at beauty. What the face looks like, what the body should be like.
I'll give you an example. People, when they look at my teeth, they say, olinguni, because of a specific tooth of mine that protrudes. And many of times people have said, if you have this type of teeth,
Right.
it already defines you as a woman, as a Nguni woman.
Yeah.
Are there other maybe attributes that we may not be aware of that may define us as maybe looking at different ethnic groups?
Yeah. Yes, there are quite a lot. If you look, for instance, like at people from South, and you compare them with people southern of Africa and northern Africa.
Okay.
If you compare them, you could see the difference in terms of the nose, the color of their skins, even their eyes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking about that. I was looking at dance. Starting from Cape Town, if you look at the way the Africans dance, they normally use their feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you get to the Zulus and the Ndebeles, the feet starts going up, right? You get to Zimbabwe, it changes now. It's now like the Shonas, it's mainly the waist.
Yes.
As you go up north Zambia, it's more the waist. Then as you go up, then it will be now
The shoulders.
the shoulders, the shoulders, nothing to do with the feet. When you get to Europe, it changes completely.
It's the whole body.
Exactly.
It's the whole body. And who is allowed to determine what African beauty is?
The Africans themselves.
The Africans themselves.
Yes,
And it's based on what we want it to be.
exactly. It should be like that.
It should be like that.
It should be like that. At times I get disappointed when I look at the TV. There's one woman, I don't know where she comes from, but somewhere up north.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's one of the well-known models, dark in complexion. She doesn't look beautiful at all.
To the beholder.
Oh yes, to the beholder, you're right. Yes.
And like with us defining our own African beauty, have we been contaminated in any way for us to look at ourselves with contempt, if we are looking at ourselves with contempt?
Yes, we have. Since civilization came to Africa, we all want to be small and we all want thin women, not slim.
Yes.
Thin women and the like. Yeah, that's what the system wants. We want to please the system, forgetting where we are from.
And what are the cultural dangers of allowing ourselves to be wholly consumed or contaminated by other cultures or other ideologies of what beauty is or African beauty is?
Yeah, we cannot help it. We're in this global village now. We need to accept some of these things so that we'll be able to fit in within that specific environment. Yes, we need, for instance, like even to keep that which is of value to us, especially respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially knowing your manners. In Sindebele, right? When somebody gives you, you don't use one hand, you use both hands.
Yes.
Right. That's us. But in the Western culture, if I use both hands, I'm greedy.
Or you're begging.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. Those are the things that we need to understand where we come from.
And do you think we are able to preserve the tidbits of respect of who we are as Africans?
Yes, we are, provided the family background is strong.
So we're going back to the family.
Yes.
We're going back to the family.
Yeah. One of the things that concerns me, I was invited a few weeks ago to a school in the townships.
Yeah.
It's a primary school, and they say that school only teaches in English. I was shocked.
From like grade 1.
Yes, they are taught in English, which means the vernaculars are now sidelined.
Yeah.
Whereas, versus like if the system had put it this way, that maybe from grade CP, what is these smaller ones, ECDs, up to a certain grade, it should be vernacular. Then from this grade, then another foreign language could be introduced. That way it could help, because you would appreciate your own language.
True. And I think appreciating own language means appreciating the culture behind the language.
Yes.
And when we talk about African beauty, is it only something that is restricted to the physical aspect? Because as a female, the moment you say beauty, I'm now thinking my physical aspect.
No, African beauty covers a multitude of sins. Yeah. And one of them is, normally beauty is looked at a woman. For instance, like when men look at a woman, they find them beautiful. I don't know whether when women look at us, do you find us beautiful?
I've often heard people say, oh, that man is beautiful. So I'm not sure what the beauty is. Is it physical or is it now inward or the character of the man?
How about the men we are staying with?
He's a beautiful man. Like, I guess it's about now the character, like what you've been explaining to us about family respect.
Right.
And yes, and uphatha abantu kahle.
Yeah.
So I guess I've answered I've answered the question. But when it comes to speaking about men and their beauty, what was done kudala in terms of men preserving African beauty? Because we often always associate it with women preserving the African beauty.
That's a difficult one because men generally, they never adorn so many things, save for the skins.
Okay.
Yeah. But even then, in that, there is some beauty. Take, for instance, like if one came up with something completely different, or maybe a different attire, they would say, what's the term? It slipped off.
Okay.
Yes,
It's okay. It's okay.
Silele kunjini lopulisa ngoma.
So, Baba, was there back in the day a hierarchy of African beauty amongst different classes of people within a community in our African setting?
No, not to my knowledge per se, but yes, they should have been. Yeah. Normally, what ushers in beauty is the new trends, new thinking, new ways of looking at things. Take, for instance, like these days, when I'm looking at when we're growing up, I grew up in the hippie era where the afro was the in thing. And that was the in thing then.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it started now changing. These days, it's mainly like the dreadlocks. Yeah, those are the in things. It's part of the furniture, of the fashion.
Yeah.
Even long ago, I would have thought that way as well, that it might have been part of the fashion if somebody came up with a different kind of dress, and people would say, wow, and then they might end up following that. Ingupamazwi. That's the word I wanted. When somebody dresses so well in such a way that all of you would say, wow, ingupamazwi, meaning you talk about that kind of newfound way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking of right now of the love necklaces. Yeah, I think they originated from, is it the Zulu or the Xhosa? The love necklaces. Even when we were growing up as well, it was part of that. If you see like a girl would have a necklace, and within the community they will know that that necklace belongs to so and so. Once they see that necklace being worn by a guy, automatically they would know that, okay, these two are now in
a
love.
relationship.
Yes, you see,
Yeah.
those are the trends that keep changing as well.
If I, as an African today, choose not to embrace the standards of African beauty, does that make me less of an African? Unless I choose to adopt maybe the standards of African beauty from the Western world, does that make me less of an African who is able to still be African?
Yes, I would say so. Yes, it will be, because some of these things you catch them like when you are young. You always want to do these other new trends.
Yeah.
But as you get older, you realize that it was better off in those days when your father and your mother taught you A, B, C, D. I've had friends, for instance, like who grew up here, went abroad. Once they get old, they start now wanting to teach their children the African manners,
Yeah.
or African food and things like that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work because they were never brought up that way.
Okay.
Yeah, I know of two guys. I think they went to Cyprus and did food, something to do with hotels. And when they were there, they were asked to prepare an African food, and they made these hamburgers, and they were told, no, this is not African food. And when they came back, they came to me and said, Uncle, if only they had taught us how to make inkobe and like.
Yes. Yeah.
This is where we're missing it. We want to teach our children pizzas and these other things. Teach them the basics in Kobe and that. And they're more nutritious compared to these other stuff.
That is true. But what if people are just embarrassed by it and they think it's primitive?
Yeah, it's up here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all in the mind. We need now to
change the mindset. And speaking about mindsets, back in the day, we would read about slavery and how the black body was politicized, was put up as put up in a show because they deemed our Africanness, especially in our color of our skin, as something that was taboo, something that was dirty.
Yeah.
Does that still have a bearing on how we view ourselves as Africans in this generation that we're in now?
Yes, definitely. That has a bearing. Yeah. We need to now emancipate ourselves. We need now to free ourselves.
Yeah.
We need now to look at, there are quite a lot of things. In fact, when we attained our independence, 1980, wow, we were really perplexed and looking forward to our Africanness.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that our Africanness never came out. Yeah, because I started, when the Zimbabwe flag came out, I bought it straight away, and I was hoping that even Parliament too will look at things like our heritage, maybe have a Heritage Day, and things like that. If it started with Parliament, we would have been somewhere now. Because if I look at Zimbabwe and South Africa, I found South Africa, they're more liberated compared to us, especially in our cultures.
And now we're seeing a lot of people starting this revolution of embracing our Africanness. And we're seeing it by the external things, the hair.
Yes.
We're seeing it with people starting to embrace not having a lot of makeup on their faces.
Yes.
But we also still have people who are saying, I still want to choose to lighten my skin. What are your thoughts on that?
Freedom of expression.
Okay.
Freedom of expression is free in Zimbabwe. Yeah, we have to accept that until that particular individual realizes it. Yeah, it might be too late, but at least we would have warned that particular individual as well.
Okay. And when it comes to being a creative, because I know you're a creative, how does African beauty inspire your work? Or how can we even allow it to inspire our work as creators?
Yeah, it's there, it's embodied in us, both spiritually and physically. It's there. But it's only that we tend to shun that which is us.
Okay.
Yeah, and accept that which is brought from either other cultures or other people. Which means there's need for us to now, as individuals, especially as family or even as an ethnic group, to accept that so and so is from the Tonga people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and let them practice what they believe
they believe in. And just to highlight on communities, how can we as individuals that have been empowered, that our minds have fully grasped the concept of what African beauty is, and we want it to live on. We want the values of respect, the values of spirituality, the values of our skins and our hair to live on. What are the things that we can do within the communities? Because maybe we're not all families may be in touch with wanting to do so, but how can we try and possibly ignite some form of interest and flame within our communities, especially the younger generation?
Yeah, within the younger generation, it depends on that particular individual. But what I have noticed of late, when they get married, always they now always ask for, come up, they want a traditional wedding. And traditional wedding, they would approach me, I want a traditional, I don't want the white wedding, I want a traditional wedding. Then I end up at times sitting down with them, talking to them, finding out where they come from, their people, meeting their parents. Yeah, because there are certain taboos that you are not supposed to do within a community.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I teach, that I share. Hopefully, maybe it would help them as well in future. But they would have already missed the mark. Because once you say it's a traditional, which means they've already missed something.
Yeah.
But if it's already there within your family, you will never separate it.
True. So are we saying that, I'm just highlighting on the fact that someone who wants to get married, so it's now a different milestone in their lives.
Yes.
And it's only then when they're like, wait a minute, there's something about culture that I'm missing.
Exactly.
That I'm missing.
Yes. Which means going back to the family, which
Yeah.
means as a family, as a father, as a mother, what have we done to our children?
And I think we're not doing well. If only I think about my culture and my tradition when I want to get married.
Yes.
So what happens when I'm turning 16 or 18 or
Right.
21, getting
Right.
into womanhood, when I'm getting into becoming a man? What's happening there? Are we...
Yes, we have lost that, except for the Xhosas when it comes to men. When it comes to men,
you're still doing the
the
circumcision.
circumcision, yes.
And that's also a form of African beauty.
Oh, yes. And it has been embraced by the healthy community.
Yeah.
Yes. So those are the things. It shows that we have got it, but no one has sat down to look at it and study why intolwane is good for you.
Is it not because it's also not written down?
There I agree with you. But then those that are able to write, why can't they write about that?
Here
Like
you.
you.
I'm going to say that's not
Silele kunjini lopulista ngoma.
Right, Baba, with so much diversity that is found within our cultures, within our ethnicities, and even diversity as people, as individuals, is there something that we can call as a single idea of African beauty? Something that is uniform across all these diversities that we find. So when people look and say, okay, this person is from the northern region of Africa, this is southern, this is central.
Yes, there is. One of them is Ubuntu.
Okay.
It cuts through all the borders. When we talk of Ubuntu, we talk of the way people respond, especially to the visitors,
Okay.
those that are not within your community, Ubuntu, how do you receive them? And in Africa, it has been, shown, and it's there within the community. Or even if you get to the rural areas, when you are walking on the road, you will always greet when you are passing somebody, you will always greet each other, whether you know them or you don't know them. It was only the other day when we were talking about this Ubuntu. In the olden days, like you were allowed to go into a field, right? When you are a visitor and you are hungry, and you see ikabe within a field, you are allowed to go into the field.
Okay.
And take ikabe udle, because you are hungry. Uchiya amakhalsi khonapho.
All right.
Uhambi lawo. Ukudla kwakhona udla khona lapho, ukuchiye then ubusungena indlela. Those are the things that embodied our culture. Not even that as well, even ilokana ukuqhinisa amabele ukuthi khona each time there is right.
And what about physically? Is there something that can be a singular identity of African beauty within a community? Without taking away from who I am as an individual or where I'm or which tribe I'm coming from.
One individual is the greeting.
Okay.
Wherever you go, Sabona or Magadi. Right. Then it depends on the response from there.
Okay.
When I greet and say Sabona, and if that the person responding and says Magadi, are we able to converse?
Okay.
I grew up in Guenja. My mother was Xhosa. She's late now. Her friend next to her was from Mutare. Right. Each time they were chatting, my mother would speak in Xhosa, she would speak in Samanyiga.
Okay.
It was that kind of relationship.
And they would understand
each other. They would understand each other.
And we're losing that now because someone will say, I don't understand Shona, I don't understand David. You can't converse.
Right.
And you can't converse. And speaking about African beauty, is that term appropriate? Because if I'm not mistaken, I don't think I've heard about Caucasian beauty. Caucasian beauty. Or is it a term that we as Africans are using, like to take back our power, to take back who we are as people?
Because the word African itself is just a general term. Anyone from Africa is an African, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even the Egyptians, are they not Africans?
They are. even a white person born in Africa is termed to be an African.
But is termed to be an African.
Because they were born here. That is it's debatable.
All right.
It's
That's
debatable.
where I was going, yes.
It is, but like the notion for me, I think, is if you were born on African soil and maybe the generations before you were also born here, and Africa is what you know. Europe because and there's probably no ties left there.
Right.
And Africa is what you know. Is that not? That does not qualify you to be an African?
Yes, it does, but like you said, it's debatable. Because when a white person comes in, he's a European, and a black person comes in, he's an African.
He's African.
So, which means we have to toe between the line, these two grey lines. Therefore, it's difficult. It's difficult. We have changed it so many ways, black and so forth and so forth. But the one that sticks most is mainly African.
But what would then, if African is such a debatable word, what then should we call it? Should we just merely call it beauty? Or is there a term that can then be used for like a Zania beauty or something?
No, let's continue using the African beauty and polish it.
Okay.
As part of those terms. Let's continue. To me, I think it brings out the essence of of being in Africa.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
that's our thrust.
That's our thrust.
I see.
And what would be your parting words on the topic of African beauty?
That's yes. I'm drawing a blank.
You're drawing a blank.
Yes. The screen is empty.
Oh, it's okay. Thank you so much for joining us, Baba. So respect and spirituality are something that is so common across all cultural groups. This is who we are as a people. This is what makes us beautiful from the inside out. If you agree with me or you don't agree with me, please join in on the conversation and tell us what you think about what African beauty is. You know what to do. Follow the hashtags that you see on your screen. This has been Cultural Expressions. See you next week.
Silele kunjini lo polista ngoma.